What's going on, wonderful people? I am Big Rob. Welcome to Big Rob's House of Entertainment and no Chinese food. I got a couple of things to talk about today, and then we'll talk about a movie. I hope you guys stick around. If not, well, see you next time. So the first thing is a week or so ago, Granny's dryer broke down. The belt busted on it. We ordered a new one. And it came in, and so Saturday, went back up there to fix it, and the niece and the oldest nephew, they helped me fix it. So I want to thank them a ton, because Big Rob can get behind the dryer and get in the floor and put the belt back on, but it takes Big Rob several hours to get back up out of the floor. And there really wasn't enough room for Big Rob to get behind the dryer. So thankfully, niece and nephew did it. It was wonderful to see them working together. The niece already has a great love of puns, and she yelled at her brother constantly for not holding the flashlight correctly. So she is absolutely ready for fatherhood now, which is great. She knows all the dad jokes, and she knows how to yell at people for holding flashlights wrong. So that's it. Love them to death. So anyway, was on the road again with work this week at a different hotel, and it was a nice hotel. Had a kitchenette, had a living room, had a bedroom, oddly enough, and but I went in to get in the shower, and you have the bathtubs, the shower curtains, you have the standing stall showers. I don't know what you call this thing, but the opening to get in the shower was this wide, and I am this wide. If you don't believe me, I took pictures. I did not measure to see how wide this thing was. I should have, but I didn't. But I do have a couple of pictures I'm going to show you that show you how narrow the opening of this stupid shower was compared to me. And it was just, look, there was no direction that I could turn that I could get into this shower easily. I had to be like The Rock, and I had to turn this sideways and shine myself real nice. And anyway, good thing I was getting in the shower. I had to grease myself to get in, and I just thought it was funny. Some of y'all have already seen the pictures, but not everybody has, and it just amused me, so I figured I'd tell you about it. Anyway, so on to the movie. In the 80s, we as a people, America, I guess, we liked sword and sorcery fantasy movies. It was a big deal back then, much like superhero films are now, I guess. There was several that I've seen. I've reviewed one of them already, Red Sonja. And I'll probably review several more because I really dug a ton of these movies. Dad showed most of them to me when I was younger, and I have watched them over and over again as I was able to. This particular movie, the name of it has eluded me for years. I can only remember one thing about the movie, and that was the main protagonist carried this really awesome broadsword with 3 blades. The main blade, and then the 2 outside blades, he could hit a button and they would projectile out. Like, it was really, and it just stuck with me from being a kid until now as just really an awesome sword. It's the only thing I remembered about the movie. And for years, I would think about it and go, oh man, I need to figure out what that movie was. And I couldn't find it. And I would look and look and look. Never could find it. Finally, the other week, I just happened to type in the name, or the search terms, in just the right way, that the stupid movie popped up. And the sword and sorcery fantasy movie that I've been looking for 20 years plus is called The Sword and The Sorcerer. It's just too easy of a name, I guess. Anyway, so I found it. Movie released in 1982-ish, had a $4 million budget, and made $39 million at the box office. By any stretch of the imagination, that would be a success. I watched it again, as I said, because it would make it hard to tell you about the movie if I didn't watch it, right? The main character, Talon, is played by Lee Horsley. He was Archie Goodwin in the 1981 Nero Wolfe TV series. He's been in a bunch of movies and TV shows since then. Recently-ish, he was in Django Unchained. He was in The Hateful Eight. Looks like a bunch of bit parts. I don't know the dude. I don't know. Princess Alana was played by Kathleen Beller. She was on the TV show Dynasty as Kirby Anders and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've never seen. Again, don't know her. King Cromwell was played by Richard Lynch. He has been in a boatload of movies and a boatload of TV shows, none of which I have ever seen. That's not true. I've actually seen most of the TV shows, just don't remember him. I've seen some of the movies. I don't remember him. He's been in a lot of horror movies, so Hassel may know who he is. I'm not that familiar with him. Zusha of Delos, the sorcerer of the movie, was played by Richard Mole. This is literally the only dude in the movie that I've ever heard of. Richard Mole played Bull in Night Court. He also played in an episode of Highlander, the TV show, and he was also the voice of Two-Face Harvey Dent in Batman the Animated Series. Whole bunch of other stuff that he's done. He's done a lot of voiceover work because he's got a really good, deep voice. He's really tall and visually striking, so he's been in a bunch of other stuff too. That is literally the only dude, I think I said this, he's literally the only dude in this movie that I had ever heard of. So, like I said, the other people have had pretty prolific careers. They've done a lot of other stuff. It's just stuff that I'm not familiar with. So I'm not knocking their work. I'm just not familiar with it. I watched it this afternoon, and it was an absolute mess. The storyline is just muddled. It kind of starts to clear up partway through, but it's not great. The movie's title is The Sword and The Sorcerer, and between The Sword and The Sorcerer, out of an hour and 40 minutes, I think those two items / characters get about 25 minutes of screen time. They're just not in it. I don't know why it was called The Sword and The Sorcerer. Should have been King Cromwell's an a-hole. Because he is. Alright, so here's the movie. So, movie starts off, King Cromwell, he raises the sorcerer, Zusha of Delos, who was in some sort of suspended animation, prison, what have you, raises him up and tells him that he wants him to help conquer King Richard's armies. King Richard runs the last kingdom that hasn't fallen under Cromwell's sway, whatever, and it's a super rich, super pleasant kingdom, so of course Cromwell wants to take over and destroy it, because that's what bad guys do. Alright, so they start that, and said, okay, great. So Zusha and Cromwell and their cronies, they go through and they destroy all of King Richard's armies except for the last one. They get down to the last one, and Cromwell decides, raising this demon sorcerer guy may have been a bad idea. I think I need to go ahead and kill him before he turns on us. So he stabs the sorcerer and throws him off a cliff and assumes that that's the end of it. Alright, cool. So then he goes on and he beats Richard's army. King Richard, who was apparently a pretty good king, pretty nice guy, actually supposed to be fairly strong, but apparently at this point attrition has just done worn him down. He gives his youngest son, Talon, a awesome three-bladed broadsword. Again, I kind of discussed it. The sword is a pretty nice broadsword. It's got 2 external blades. Both the blades shoot off as projectiles. It's awesome. All right. So anyway, so Talon gets the sword, and his dad tells him to avenge him if he gets killed. And then like 30 seconds later, Cromwell catches up to King Richard, kills him in front of Talon. Talon tries to avenge him, but Richard's chief advisor's like, no, you need to go. Your rest of your family's down by the river. They're trying to get away. You can avenge him later. So Talon runs, and then he gets to the river just in time to watch Cromwell's men kill his mom. Again, this dude, not a good day. His sister gets captured by Cromwell, and Talon runs. That's the first 18 minutes of this movie. Then you got like a 10-11 year time jump. The next thing you see / hear, Talon is now an adult. He's a mercenary. He's a sword for hire. He's got a group of mercenaries that he hangs out with. They're all a bunch of rowdy, goofy guys that like to fight and make money and stuff like that, and probably drink and whore around. All right, so that's cool. At the same time, you also found out that Zusha, the sorcerer, is still alive. And by the way, I know my notes seem kind of muddled sometimes when I review these movies. That's how this movie is. I am not making it worse. That is literally how muddled this movie is. Alright, so anyway, so at the same time, Talon's a mercenary, Zeus is still alive. Micah, who is the son of King Richard's advisor, and Alana, who's Micah's sister, they're starting a rebellion inside of the city. This is all happening basically at the same time. Alright, so Micah gets captured. Alana runs. Talon, who's in town eating what looks to be a leg of lamb, intervenes, fights off the kidnapper or the capturers, and rescues her. They go to sit down at a bar. It's run by a guy named Crackers, which I just thought was a really super great name because he's a white dude. And Alana asks Talon to rescue her brother. She offers him gold. The movie gets super, super misogynistic right now because Talon only agrees to rescue the brother if Alana spends a night with him. It's really sad and really messed up. But in 1982, that was what passed for a protagonist. Anyway, let's go on. So he agrees to the rescue. So he goes to rescue the brother, and Alana gets captured too. 5 minutes after she got saved from being captured. Alright, so Talon breaks into the castle with the aid of Rodrigo and some rebels. He frees Micah, then he gets captured. Yeah, I said that right. Alright. At the same time, Cromwell, he has arranged a wedding between him and Princess Alana. Soon to be princess, soon to be queen. Anyway, Alana. At the same time, he is going to crucify Talon to kill him. Which, by the way, he still doesn't know who Talon is. He just knows that Talon broke into his castle and he didn't like that. Shocker. And also, the three-bladed sword, nowhere to be seen. So, at the same time that he's going to marry Alana and crucify Talon, he's invited kings from the neighboring 4 kingdoms to the feast, and he's also going to kill them so he can take over their kingdoms. This dude is a multitasker like you have never seen. He might be a bad guy, he might be a scumbag. He is a multitasker who can get things done. Sometimes. Alright, so Micah, who did get rescued by Talon, he comes back to rescue Talon, and Talon actually pulls himself off of the crucifix that he's on. Well, he's not really a crucifix, it's an X. I don't know. Anyway, So Talon kind of rescues himself, but Micah and the rebels come in and they start fighting off Cromwell's army. The kings that were there to be in the wedding feast and also to get killed, they decide to start fighting back too, which is probably a good thing for them. Cromwell grabs Alana and runs. Michelli, who, I think I'm saying that right, Michelli, I can't remember. Anyway, again, super muddled. Michelli, who is Cromwell's minion, he takes Alana down to the catacombs while Cromwell fights Talon. While he's down there, he reveals that he is now Zusha. Apparently, Zusha killed Michelli and took his place at some point in time between now and 20 minutes into the movie. Again, I'm not making it worse. This is how bad this movie is. I wish I was lying. Anyway, so just read my note there. That was terrible. So anyway, Cromwell gets down there to the catacombs, realizes that Zusha has taken the place of his crony, and he objects to Zusha taking Alana away. And so Zusha, who is apparently related to E.T. because his fingers glow, but when they glow, they like the fingers glow, and then it's like Cromwell gets pushed back like there's a force wave. It's 1982 special effects, okay? They put light bulbs in his fingers, and then they snatched Cromwell back with a rope that you couldn't see. Anyway, force blast. Okay, put it in terms. All right, so anyway, then Talon finally gets down there, and he's like, no, you can't take Alana still. But for different reasons, because he needs payment, because he rescued her brother. Zusha tries to do the finger trick with him too. Talon somehow manages to fight through it, picks his three-bladed sword up, which he finally got back, and he shoots one of his swords through Zusha. Zusha falls. You think, oh, okay, Zusha got a sword through his gut, now he's dead. So then Talon and Cromwell fight. Cromwell manages to break the three-bladed sword, and then Talon takes the broken part off, so now it's just a handle and a dagger that was hidden in the handle. This sword is like really neat. I really want one of these. Anyway, so they keep fighting, and eventually Talon loses that his dagger as well. Talon's a terrible fighter to be a mercenary, and Cromwell's actually a really good fighter, but Cromwell's starting to get angry, and he's starting to make mistakes. And so Talon, he finally, he's on the ground and he's looking up. Well, then all of a sudden he does an Assassin's Creed, and he's wearing this gauntlet with a blade that shoots out of it. Yeah, sorry, Assassin's Creed fans, y'all didn't make that up. This is from 1982. And he stabs Cromwell, and Cromwell falls to the ground, and he's like, who are you? And Talon's like, I'm Talon, son of King Richard. And he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have killed him. And then he falls over dead. All right. So then Nagini, the snake from Harry Potter, I don't know where this thing come from, but he's wrapped himself around Alana, and he's trying to kill her. So then Talon runs over there, and he slices the head off the snake so he can save Alana, because again, he's got to get paid. So they think, oh, snake's dead. Okay, we're good. And Zusha comes back yet again. So he has to kill him again. Finally gets him killed. Dead. Finally. So then the next thing you see is they're back in the room where the wedding feast was. There's a lot of dead people. Mostly Cromwell's guards, and a lot of rebels and kings who are just sitting there recovering, and a lot of beautiful serving wenches that are attending to them. Talon throws Cromwell's king to Micah. Micah takes the crown, becomes king, and then Alana says that she's got a payment to render. So apparently she decided at some point that she was okay with the thing. That doesn't make it right, people, but she did decide that she was okay with it, so they go off and do their thing. So then the next thing you see is Talon and his mercenary band. They're getting the heck out of Dodge. They got some stuff to do in the neighboring kingdom. They got some other stuff to do. Rodrigo, who was the leader or secondary leader of the rebels, he decides to join up with them because he's got a fancy headband now. I don't know. I mostly included that note because I thought Rodrigo was a good name. Anyway, so they all ride off. So, huge mess. Some decent fights. Really awesome sword. Practical effects in this thing were pretty gross. And I mean that in a good way. However, I was trying to eat something with marinara sauce and popcorn's okay, nachos maybe. Don't eat anything red while you're trying to watch this movie. It's just, I don't have that weak of a stomach, and I was just like, maybe pause. Anyway, so, strangely enough, there was a sort of kind of sequel in 2010 called Tales of an Ancient Empire. Had Kevin Sorbo and Victoria Moret. Lee Horsley supposedly, I haven't watched this, Lee Horsley supposedly reprised his role as Talon. IMDb credits him as being the Stranger, but this is supposed to be a sort of kind of sequel. I will see about watching it. Looks like it's available on Vudu, so I'll see about watching it. I probably won't do a full deep dive like this because from what I understand it's even worse than this was, but if I get a chance to watch it, I'll let you guys know. Apparently it's got vampires in it, so it might be pretty interesting. This one, Sword and the Sorcerer, you can find copies of it on eBay. You can watch it on Pluto and a couple of other of the free ones with ads. You can buy it on the Google Play Store. It's like $3 to rent or $10 to buy. I don't have a physical copy. I bought it on the Play Store just so I didn't have to watch the ads during the movie. I kind of regret spending the $10 because it's so terrible. It's one of those things that you don't meet your heroes and don't rewatch the stuff that you loved in the past because sometimes it's just not worth it. That was kind of the case with this one. I'm glad I watched it, I really am, but I didn't love it watching it again. I kind of wish they'd have done a whole lot more with the three-bladed sword, because like I said, it had maybe 10 minutes of screen time, and the Sorcerer Zusha had maybe 15 minutes of screen time out of an hour and 40 minutes. I don't know, it's just a mess. But hey, it's over with, it's over, it's done. We're moving on. Next week I'll have something better. Probably going to go to a different genre next week. I had a couple of suggestions on last week's show about some stuff to do. I've got a few more in the list that I already had planned to do, so we'll pick something good hopefully, and we'll do another review slash deep dive slash talk about next time. If you've got a movie you want me to take a look at that maybe was a favorite of yours, or something that you just can barely remember something about it and you kind of want to revisit it, let me know. Put it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. Before I get out of here, I do want to give a quick shout out to the Zone Collectables. They're at 305 Main Street in Tifton, Georgia. You can also find them on Facebook at The Zone Collectables. You can also find them at thezonecollectables@gmail.com. Kevin, Kim, and Alex are all superb and awesome human beings. They are the best. Anything that you want, anything that you need, that your nerdy little heart desires, they've probably either got it or they can get it for you real fast. Give them a call, give them a like, give them a shout out, see what they're all about. Also want to give a shout out to my brothers Hassel and Monster over at the Nerdy Man Room Show. They are on YouTube. They are also on Roku on the Southern Joy Media channel. They're also all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what have you. I will put their details up here somewhere so that you can see how to get in touch with them and how to view their content. I sometimes show up over there whenever I got some time off and can annoy them. As always, I'm here. Like the show, subscribe to the show so you know when I drop new stuff. Ring the bell. Leave me a comment, leave me a question, leave me a complaint. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't do a lot over there, but I am over there. I read stuff and look and see what's going on. Sometimes I share funny memes if I find them. Sometimes I make rude comments on other people's posts, because what is life without whimsy? But anyway, so I appreciate it. Again, I will be here on YouTube. I am also, as of last week, on the Roku channel, or on Roku on the Southern Joy Media channel. Hassel's Review, where Hassel does his reviews, features my show. So it's Hassel Review featuring Big Rob's House of Entertainment and no Chinese food. So you can check me out over there. Please do. Tell people about it. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your love, and may the force be with y'all.